Hello everybody and welcome back to Greece, the fan-made map from 1857 to 1915. We're currently in the year 1890. Just looking at bonds, I've noticed that the prime rate of 6% and the economic boom and the AAA credit rating mean that I can basically now just get bonds at 6%. And to save ourselves from the possibility of not having enough cash to pay back bonds, I figure why not refinance them and simply take out bonds to pay off the bonds that we already have, thereby saving ourselves 1.8% of interest on $8.5 million, which is, I don't know, like $160,000 a year. Yes, okay, we have 17 bonds outstanding. It costs $20,000 per bond, because it costs you $510,000 to refinance a $500,000 bond, and you only get $490,000 for a $500,000 bond. So yeah, it basically costs us $20,000 per bond. So that is $340,000 to do this. But we're gonna save a lot of money in the long run on interest, which we'll make up in like 2 years' time anyway, and saving ourselves $170,000 a year. Probably not a bad idea, especially since 1896 we would owe about $7 million. Which, in our current economic status, even with an economic boom, we're only making about $4 million. We're probably not going to be able to pay that off. So, I'm going to go ahead and refinance all these bonds. Keep it at $8.5 million for now. Could even bring it up to 9 million to bring us back to the amount of funds that we had before refinancing. Sorry if this is a bit dull, but you'll hopefully understand the importance of this if you've played Railroad Tycoon before and or watched any of my previous videos, which hopefully you have. Hopefully they're not that terrible. So yeah, a bit dull, tedious admin work at the moment, but it'll save us money in the long run. And it does mean that these bonds aren't due until 1920, so we're never actually going to pay them off. So, joke's on the bank, you're lending us money that you're never actually going to get back. And one more. Yeah, so we've lost effectively $340,000 up front to save about $160,000 per year, and also basically save ourselves $8.5 million that we would have to pay back in like 6 years' time. Not all at once. So it's kind of a short term. In the short term, it's an investment of $340,000. In the long term, it's obviously well worth doing because these are just 6% bonds. Probably actually keeps our credit rating at AAA as well, because we're not going to need to borrow any more realistically. And if we do, like, we can probably just get it at 6% anyway. Now, with that out of the way, and hopefully the game doesn't blue screen again like it did like 10 minutes ago. Current objectives. We've done the 5 loads of troops. We need 5 loads of weapons. We only have 10 years to do it, which means that we have 2 years per load of weapons. Once the trains start hauling the weapons, 5 loads of weapons isn't difficult. We could probably do that in one train. The problem is, there are currently, on the entire map, absolutely no weapons on the map, nor are there any weapons producing buildings or factories or anything on the map. There are some buildings in Thessaly where we have to deliver the weapons to that do demand weapons, particularly in Larissa and Volos. If you look, weapons are actually they're actually $1 more expensive in Volos than Larissa, but for $1 it makes no real difference. Given that it is actually shorter to go to Larissa because we're going to have to go along this track anyway. Herein lies the problem as well, and there are many of them. we still don't have the suspension bridge, and henceforth, were we to, let's say, build a weapons factory in Patrai, we've got an incredibly long way to go, because it has to go from Patrai to Corinth, obviously not stopping, and then basically to Lividostro, and then all the way to Larissa, which is essentially, if you look on the map, all of our track, or about as long as we can get on a single route. Thankfully not hauling them from like Scala, in which case we'd have to go all the way along the Peloponnese as well. This is kind of why I want the suspension bridge, because then we could just build the suspension bridge like here, and we would cut out all this bit from the journey. Like, okay, we'd still have to go through that bit of track, but it would probably be quicker. And also, obviously, a suspension bridge is flat. It would also make getting from like Patrai to Nafpaktos or Patrai to Salona a lot quicker. However, as well, the suspension bridge will be very expensive, and that's if I can even build it, because there might not be enough room to do so, given that we've built very close to the coast, as it is. Also, interestingly, I'm just going to upgrade this... No, we can't. Because the ground is not flat enough. Well, god damn it. Well, okay. Fortunately, the goods and produce and lumber, etc. is actually already making its way to a crater. And also, interestingly, we can actually haul goods from a crater to Patrai, which means that hauling goods from the tool and die in Patrai to a crater would not be profitable. Kind of annoying. However, it's massively profitable to haul it to Olympia, which has a retail building. But that's not our priority right now. What is our priority is getting weapons. Now, how do you get weapons? I believe it is, at the precise moment, lumber and steel. Now, the only lumber mill that we have, there is one in Larissa, which is actually a lot more profitable than the one that, well, not more profitable. It may be producing more, or maybe not being as used as the one in Patrai. Obviously, unfortunately, there's no steel anywhere in Thessaly. Given that the only steel on the map comes from ports, and hence the only steel on the map is like anywhere with a tool and die, so that is Athens, or a port. So Athens, Piraeus, Patrai are the only real places with steel. Saying that, there is a lot of steel in Athens, which is obviously being used for my tool and die, which is massively profitable. And there is actually a munitions factory that's been here since the beginning and is actually making money. So we could buy that as well. The steel is the same price in Athens as it is in Patrai. That doesn't really surprise me. Piraeus does have steel, which we could haul to Athens or Patrai. It's probably already making its way to both, to be honest. So really, if I can get lumber in Patrai, of which there is a lumber mill, and there are some logs, there was a logging camp around here somewhere that's actually sadly disappeared now. There are logs in Lividostro, which again, they're not actually in Lividostro themselves, but there's a logging camp. Again, this is kind of why I want the suspension bridge, either here or here, just somewhere along this particular stretch of water. Because unfortunately, the only logs on the map are kind of either at random logging camps, or yeah, they're just very scattered. Apparently there are 105 loads of logs on the entire map. I find that quite hard to believe, because, yeah, okay, there are logs on the map, but... Where? Because there's only 1.5 there. There's going to be... If I built, like, a station here, there might be... I don't know, 5 loads in this area? There's quite a few running along the coast, so... But there aren't any in a crater. I can't upgrade this to a large station, and that is annoying me. I would have to build a new station like that, and then reroute trains. So if I got rid of this particular station, I'm going to do that. Rename this back to a crater, and then any station there, any train will then have to go to the new Akrata station, like this one. So it's quite clear from the direction of this train that it was going to go to Akrata. It's not hauling anything anyway, but that's kind of beside the point. So this again was going to Akrata, and that's, you can tell because it's actually going to make some money going to Akrata. Going to Petra, it's not making any money. But it's only making like 19. And the reason for that is the passengers aren't making any money anymore. Kind of annoying. Oh well. It's a temporary setback. To be fair, it was debatable whether or not that was worth it. Let's just say yes. So it seems like I only actually had 2 trains using Akrata, unless I had a train using Akrata and 2 other stations, and therefore I've just not noticed. Which is quite possible, to be honest. But it seems like that's it. So, given that we need 10 victory points, and there's only 12 available in the entire map for gold, if we don't do these weapons, then we have to do everything else except for one to get gold. So basically, if we fail this and 2 other things, then we can't get gold. And that's assuming we do everything else. So realistically, I do need to do this, and I think it is possible because we still have 10 years. Okay, I've caught it when it's doable. I was aware of this for quite some time, but I was kind of concentrating on other things, and I thought, this might get done. Not realising there are no weapons on the map. So let's go ahead and... Unfortunately, a weapons factory is 2.3 million, so I'm going to need to take out more bonds. Could also issue stock, but that would hurt the share price, thereby hurting my net worth. I don't want to do that right now. So let's go ahead and build a weapons factory. It's probably not going to make much money, but the thing is once we do haul 5 loads of weapons, then we can always sell it. So lumber and steel are required. There's quite a lot of steel, because this supplies 4 steel. Unfortunately, the tool and die do require 12 loads of steel to do everything. Also, unfortunately, it's possible that the port might... Like, if a train runs from Petra to Akrata, it might steal the lumber. Although, actually, it would only be hauling for $3, so it probably won't. And also, I imagine that the weapons factory will probably get the lumber anyway. This furniture factory might steal some of the lumber, but hopefully not. Also on that note, I'm going to save the game and create a new video part just in case it crashes. Because I don't want to have to do all that speech ramble again. So yeah, new video part coming right up.